Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode, and you join me for the Season 3 Belgian Grand Prix. No matter which one you want to call it, this is the driver's circuit of the Formula 1 calendar. Loads of the drivers on the grid saying this is their favourite circuit to come to. It's the longest one on the calendar and the race with the shortest amount of laps. And it was this Grand Prix in Season 2 that saw an absolute masterclass from us, able to claim a victory in very challenging conditions. So let's see what it takes in Season 3. We currently 35 points ahead of Valtteri Bottas in the drivers' standings, and we need to try and keep that lead as much as possible because we're due to be going into a bunch of circuits that I don't particularly enjoy or go well at. But first, before all of that, we have qualifying. We're out late in the session here, so we need to try and put in the best lap possible, braking just after the 100-meter board for Lassource. I've actually gone a little bit wide there, and that's cost me a bit of time against my Delta on acceleration. But we're now going to charge down towards the legendary Eau Rouge corner, just chuck it in at 190 miles an hour, keep it flat over the crest, as little steering input as possible. That puts us now back slightly above our Delta. DRS open on the line as we charge up over 200 miles an hour as we head towards Les Combes, braking just after the 100-meter board. It is uphill braking. We dip down and then we take the corner better than we did on my first qualifying run there, as we now head down towards Rivage, the never-ending right-hand downhill corner. You just need to wait, and then plant it on the power through the no-name left-hander. Get slightly up on the curb, run me out a little bit wide there as we now head down towards Puan. We need to consider just a slight feather on the throttle, and that got us in there. Rode the curb, cost me a little bit of time there as we now head up towards the Fania chicane. Again, nearly 200 miles an hour. Chuck it in down to 109 at the lowest. Went wide on the apex, and then we've used a lot of curb there as we now come through the first part of Stavolo. Again, feel like we could have carried more speed. We're 6/10 up on our Delta, but we're a second down on current pole time. Don't run out quite as wide as I could have done in the second part of Stavolo. Just a small, minor few mistakes that maybe cost me half a tenth, but those are going to add up over the lap as we charge through Blanchimont, 200 miles an hour. We use all the track available to us, and then at 100 metres going into the bus stop, slam on the brakes. I could have left it a little bit later, actually clump the inside curb, make the second part as smooth as possible. Then DRS as we charge towards the line. It's P3 currently on a 44.5, but it is 1.1 seconds off of current pole time. And as the session ends, Bottas on pole, Vettel in second, Raikkonen up to third, the only three men in the 43s. Alonso on a 44.2, just heads Perez, and then you've got Ricciardo and myself in seventh. But I was only 3/10 off Fernando, and he had a brilliant middle sector. Alonso was actually the fastest car in the middle sector of everyone. He was just let down in the power sections of the circuit there. So yeah, the middle sector costed me a lot of time in this particular Grand Prix. Hamilton down in 15th place, 2.4 seconds off the pace. Got no idea what happened to him as that session went on, and of course the two Sauers at the back. So interestingly enough, for this race, it's going to be a wet one. It's going to be about half a dry Grand Prix, then we're going to have some light rain, then apparently we're going to have some heavy rain. So with that in mind, I've fueled the car up, and I'm going to burn all of the excess fuel off before the rain period and save it then. So I can't amend my strategy for the weather, but we'll need to see how it goes as the race is progressing. So who knows what's going to happen as we have 5 red lights. Lights are out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a good launch initially, but then off the grid, everyone gets a better run into turn 1. We're going to take the opportunity to go down the inside of a couple of cars. They're side by side with Alonso. He gets the better exit on the wider line, so we're going to tuck in behind him. Bottas and Raikkonen currently side by side as they go towards Eau Rouge. Raikkonen filters in behind his fellow Finn, so Bottas leads from Raikkonen, Vettel. Then we're up behind Alonso, side by side with him over the crest in Vettel's slipstream. That puts us up to 4th. And then the slingshot behind Sebastian into the left, going to Raikkonen's slipstream now. That puts us up into 3rd place, and we are up to 3rd before Les Combes as we now come in. So Bottas leads the Finnish man. Then we've got Raikkonen, his fellow Finlandese person. Great commentary there. Behind him, we are in 3rd. Vettel in 4th for Ferrari. Alonso down to 5th. So yeah, we've made a pretty good start, I would say. Now it is this middle sector where the front end just wasn't dialed in for me. That's costing me a lot of time. So, end of lap 2, we've actually gone deep into the bus stop there, so we're going to have to hold the second part very tight. Bottas setting the pace at a 47.5. Raikkonen not too far behind him. We crossed the line. We are 3.4 seconds back from Raikkonen, and that's a 49.9. So we are not very quick at this initial phase of the Grand Prix, but the Ultra Softs aren't going to last very long. My team want me to come in this lap. I'm going to actually decline that request and say I'm going to come in as intended at the end of lap 4. And DRS is now enabled. So Vettel, sorry, it's Perez up into 4th place. No idea what's actually happened to Sebastian there. He's the one in my slipstream, but he's not going to be able to challenge me through Lecom. Through lap 4 there, the car not feeling too brilliant as we went out wide on the curb. These tyres feeling very second-hand. Apparently Ocon's got some kind of problem with his car, so the Force India that's not behind me having some issues, which is a little unfortunate. As we now come through Stavolo here, as we now come through the second part, we're going to be coming in at the end of this lap, as you hear by the call from the team, and we've got a safety car. You can actually see some cars stationary at the Fania chicane. So I don't 100% know what's happened there. And now we're getting offered a strategy change. This is interesting. Looking back at this one, yeah, what changed? They're offering me to come in this lap under the safety car, which is what I was going to do anyway. So anyway, we're lean mix. Bottas is in. Raikkonen carries on, interestingly enough. So Bottas going for the super soft tyres. I think that's the theory with everyone. Alonso also coming in under the safety car. Now, he's going to lose a few seconds because we're the lead McLaren. But he would probably rather lose a few seconds now rather than lose, you know, more time behind a whole safety car. So initially, just a 2-second stop flat by the McLaren boys there. I was a little bit slow in getting away with the clutch. So we're going to come out behind a train of cars. These are the guys that started on the super soft tyre. We've come out behind Marcus Ericsson, who is then behind the 2 Saubers. So Bottas had such a lead. He's probably way ahead of that pack. So now, as the safety car is still going around, we've got another lap behind the safety car. Raikkonen's retired from the Grand Prix. He's pulled off on the left-hand side of the circuit. He was still the lead driver and hadn't pitted, so I personally have no idea what happened to Raikkonen. Anyway, end of lap 7, safety car is coming in this lap. Ericsson's found himself in the lofty heights of 9th place. We're in 10th on fringe points. We need to fight our way through as soon as possible because Bottas leads this Grand Prix. So it goes to green flag straight away down the inside of the bus stop against Marcus Ericsson. Not going to waste any time against him. Get him on acceleration. Brilliant. Past Ericsson. Next target up, Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault as we now brake towards Las Horse. Then we've got the Renault of Palmer and the Williams of Stroll. So we have got a few cars ahead of us that are a little bit slow, so hopefully we can get past them. Let's look at the car streaking down towards Eau Rouge. I love that camera shot there as we are now in the slipstream of the Renault. We follow him up the hill. The slingshot we've got through Eau Rouge is phenomenal as we go to the left-hand side of Hülkenberg. Charge up past him. That is us past Hülkenberg up into 8th place, and that sets our eyes on Jolyon Palmer then for 7th as we set a purple first sector due to the just the amount of speed we carried through Eau Rouge and over the crest. So now we weren't able to get past Palmer through the middle sector. We lost a little bit of time. Initially, I attacked him into Rivage, but wasn't able to get through. So now I've had to wait until we carry Slipstream through Blanchimont, and we're now in Slipstream closing, gaining on the brakes into the bus stop past him. When we carry so much speed, we actually get past Lance Stroll, of all people, as we go through the bus stop. So that moves us from 8th to 6th in one move. Unfortunately, we only just improved on our personal best lap time, so I wasn't quick through the middle sector, but it puts us up behind Kevin Magnussen as we move on to lap 9. Magnussen looking to attack Kvyat as we go into Lecom. Kvyat goes defensive. Magnussen going to have to try and go all the way round the outside as we close up on the pair of them. Then through the second part of Lecom, Kvyat goes through, holds the inside line. I've actually gone a little bit wide as I'm taking a look at these two, but I'm in the slipstream of Danny Kvyat, and he's left the door open going into Rivage, scaring him out of the way. Caught myself on the curb, had to catch the car, but Magnussen able to make the move. He's up into 4th, and we were able to get Kvyat while he was unawares, trying to get his bearings together. So we have now gone up to 5th, and by the end of the lap, we are in the slipstream of Kevin Magnussen through the final sector, where your foot is just welded to the floor of your car as we go through Blanchimont. Try to not get too close, nip underneath him there on the exit, and we're now going to hold it around the outside of the bus stop, pinch him slightly on the way in, and then just carry it through nicely. That's us up into 3rd place now. Hamilton's in the pits, so we're going to be up to 2nd position. Magnussen carries on, and Bottas still leads the Grand Prix, and he's got a 10-second gap to me. Bottas is walking away with this race. So we're now going to ask about the weather, because I can see rain on the chassis. You can see it coming up there, and it was around the halfway point of the Grand Prix. It was due to rain. Car doesn't feel too awful at this exact moment in time, but a trait around here, the rain does get worse pretty quickly. You can see it here coming through Puong. We're getting informed by Jeff there that the line's a bit greasy. Apparently we're not at the changeover point, but the car, the front end, just isn't going into the Fania chicane there. I had to be very careful through the second part and almost like fight and battle the car through. There's a lot of spray off the tyres as we come to the end of the lap. Jeff is offering us an alternative strategy. I hesitate slightly through the chicane just to see what was on offer. It was a switch to intermediate tyres, which I'm absolutely going to take. So we are actually going to be the first car in on the intermediates. Valtteri Bottas had already passed the pit lane, so I don't know if he got a call from his pit crew, but he now has to do another lap on super soft tyres. So this needs to be a good stop by the McLaren boys. They've got the tyres on. We are away. 1.9 seconds. Excellent stuff from the McLaren pit crew. And now we're going to bump the car up to Rich, because Bottas now is going to be struggling. Now, admittedly, we haven't got the DRS disabled yet, but the track's greasy and the car's going to be tough to drive. That's regardless of us or Bottas. We need to take this opportunity now to close in on him as much as possible. Big confidence lift going into Eau Rouge, but car thankfully stayed planted. Now the DRS is disabled as we go down the Camel Straight. So now we're going to try and catch Bottas, who is there. You can see him on the right hand side of the minimap as he goes towards Puong there. As we go through Les Combes, 28.6 the gap is to Valtteri Bottas. You can see there as I'm running wide through Rivage as you get so much understeer. Bottas is coming out the Fania chicane and through the first part of Stavolo. So that is how much gap I had to chase down to Valtteri Bottas through my worst sector of the track. Now the gap did close to 27.9 seconds, but by the time I'm wrestling the car through the bus stop, Bottas is unfortunately coming out of the pits at La Source, and he's now on the intermediate tyre, so we weren't actually able to fully catch up to him, which is a little disappointing, but you know, we had 10 seconds to try and close down. I didn't think we were going to do it in one lap. I felt as if we could make more inroads than what we actually did, but nonetheless we now need to worry about what's going on behind us rather than in front of us. You can see there I'm having difficulty with the car. Once it kind of rains here in Belgium, it pours, and what I did there is I set my tyre to the wet compound because there's now more spray. I've moved on to lap 15. You can just see how slow and how much understeer we've got through Puong. And the rain's a bit heavier. And that's when I decided, you know what? It's this lap I'm coming in. Because the period of weather that was supposed to be light rain was supposed to only be fairly short. You can see me there just having to hold the car still. And yeah, I'm coming in. I've had enough of these tyres. I personally think it's a little too early. But my pace on the intermediates was awful. So I may as well take a gamble. This could backfire, but Bottas is already in the lead anyway, so he's already getting points on me. Thankfully, I've got that cushion of having an entire Grand Prix victory of points gap over him, so I can come in and take this risk should I need to. So 1.9, another brilliant stop by the McLaren team. We're now going to bump it down to lead, and we're going to run in that for the majority of the next couple of laps. Now, La Source is a fairly tight exit. We did momentarily get ahead of Massa and Alonso, but those are the cars that get past me. So I've come out in 8th. I'm not going to make any more pit stops towards the end of the race, so I'm guaranteed, hopefully, fingers crossed, a points-paying position here. So another lift through Eau Rouge. The car felt very slidey. Probably could have taken more of a lift, but I need to carry as much speed as possible as we now see Alonso in the slipstream of Massa. He goes to the outside towards Les Combes. I get a brilliant slipstream and actually catch both of them, and then I take it very easy because I'm very cautious about how this car is going to feel. But Alonso has got himself up to 6th. And we've got very quickly up to the back of these two cars. But the middle sector is where we're going to see how effective this tyre is. So Rivage, I've gone very wide there. The car just wants to understeer through the corner. You can see through Puong, it's not great. And now we're getting a call from Jeff saying the Inters are the better tyre. So, but I have to be headstrong. I can't waste any more time. I need to stay out on these tyres. So cars are in the pits at the end of lap 16. What are they going on to? Well, first of all, I've butchered the bus stop, and that's actually going to allow Carlos Sainz to get a run on me. But any of those cars that have come into the pits, they've gone for a fresh set of intermediate tyres. So We've gone deep into last source. Is that going to allow Sainz to have a run on us? No, he can't. So still we're ahead of him. We're up into 6th. So we're still in a points paying position, but we've lost a lot of time to Massa and Alonso. Speaking of Alonso, he's in the pits at the end of lap 17 here. We're going to come through the bus stop one more time. What's that going to do for any cars in the pits? We're going to come past them now. We've got ourselves up into, there's 4th and there's 3rd as Magnussen pits. You see Vettel is now heading down towards Eau Rouge. He was, of course, the car behind me before I came in. We've lost out big time to Sebastian. So the full wet tyre has not worked, which is unfortunate, but we're still on the podium. And I am hoping the tyre comes to me the closer we get to the end of this Grand Prix. Massa then went out of the race. That caused another safety car. I've cut that completely. We have 2 laps of full racing, and now you can see the weather. It's definitely full wet tyre conditions here, and Vettel was very slow through the bus stop, and we've been able to out-traction him out of the final corner as we go on to lap 21, the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. So we've actually managed to fight back up to 2nd place, and now we are right behind the rear wing of Valtteri Bottas. I would say it's definitely full wet weather conditions here. We bump it up to standard mix. Let's get after him if we can. So unfortunately, by the end of the 2nd sector, we have lost a bit of time to Valtteri. So the rain has actually eased up. So through the middle sector, it's not as bad as it was at the start. So Bottas is going to win this race. We now need to defend 2nd place against Sebastian Vettel and the charging Ricciardo. But on the final lap, Bottas peels into the pit lane. No idea why. So does Vettel, so does Ricciardo, so does the Force India, so does Lewis Hamilton. I look back in shock and awe as we take the lead of the race on the final lap of the Grand Prix. I didn't get it, and it's only when I went to the incidents I got a radio message about a drive-through penalty. Bottas, Vettel, Ricciardo and Hamilton all with drive-through penalties for speeding under the safety car. Could not believe my luck. So we come through the bus stop the final time. It's now back to light rain, so we're on the wrong tyre. We are going to head home Kevin Magnussen and Fernando Alonso to another Grand Prix victory.
Well, this is it. This is where they all want to be. Here come the top 3 then, out onto the podium after a fascinating Grand Prix.
So there you have it. In just the strangest possible circumstances, we win the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Kevin Magnussen by less than a tenth of a second, and ahead of Fernando Alonso to round out the podium with Carlos Sainz 4th, Esteban Ocon 5th, Jolyon Palmer 6th for Renault, Danny Kvyat making 4 pit stops there for Toro Rosso in 7th, then Hulkenberg, Wehrlein and Ericsson double points for Sauber, who started, of course, 19th and 20th. And then we go down the field. Bottas 14th, Vettel 16th, Ricciardo 16th, Hamilton 17th. That puts me 60 points clear of Valtteri Bottas and 90 points clear of Sebastian Vettel. I now have 2 Grand Prix victory in my pocket over Valtteri Bottas, and that puts the McLaren team 49 points ahead of Mercedes. That means Mercedes can have a 1-2. Both myself and Alonso cannot score points, and we will still be ahead of Mercedes in the standings. That is huge for both World Championships as we go into the second half of the season. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed the Belgian Grand Prix. Very different to the one out in Hungary. Once again, didn't really have the pace this weekend, but through shenanigans, circumstances, almost like this game is just trying to throw the championship at me, we've won a race. If you did enjoy it, please remember to like and comment any feedback down below. Please also subscribe and enable them notifications to never miss an update that comes to the channel. Next time out, we get one of my favourite circuits, the Temple of Speed in Italy. Let's see how we can fare this time around, as that's been good for us in the past couple of seasons. So can we finally get a win there? I will see you all next time.